Okay.
All right,
Great,
thank you.
coach.
No, I think I can go back and get a little background.
Yeah.
I coach right now. I coach girls varsity basketball,
Okay. Yeah.
charter school. So I mean, are you familiar with charter schools?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So it fluctuates as far as like our talent pool and you
Yeah.
know and it's hard to base things your offense off of like you have one group of girls and our boys and they're really good and then the next year it could be kind of
Right.
so I think the challenge for me has been finding an offense that's consistent and that could be used against the
Mm-hmm.
own hand. So um but anyway, that's kind of where I am. I do, like I said, varsity girls basketball, trying to implement this some type of system all the way down to the our fifth and sixth graders.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Good.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have several teams below our varsity level. And so I think, it's time to make a change. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And in your charter school, is it just 9 through 12, or is it like K through 12?
Yeah, our particular school is
Hmm.
K-12.
Okay,
Some
so it's a
other
big, yeah.
some other schools are 9 to 12,
Yeah.
9 through 12.
And how many kids do you usually have on the varsity team? And do you do two teams or three teams in high school?
On the
One
varsity level,
team?
we do for the high school level, we do one. But
Yeah.
I think next year I'm gonna try to do a JV team as well.
Okay.
And then on our in the junior high our fifth through eighth, we have two teams.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But on our boys' side, we have more teams.
Yeah, yeah, typical. Yeah.
So we're
Yeah,
trying
we're
to.
trying to build up the girls' side. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And why don't we start there a little bit too, just again for context. What are you doing in your youth programs to build those up for girls?
Right now, we do camps.
Hmm.
We'll do some open gyms where we invite them to come throughout the year. To shoot around. One thing that's unique about our charter school system that's different than probably your public schools here and your private schools
Yeah.
are the regulations that you can work with your kids.
Yeah.
Charter school, you can work with them pretty much year round. So that's a nice little luxury that we have. But so we kind of do that's what we do. We do camps, we do open gyms. We will also, they're in season at the time as well. And sometimes even during their PE classes, we'll work with them as far as basketball. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what we have so far. But nothing really like any type of system, right? Where
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
implement those, yeah. But so that's
Start
kind
them
of
young and then by the time they get to varsity, they'll have the system down. That's the goal, I'm assuming.
yes, sir.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that's smart. Yeah. So you are starting with the blitz offense, right?
Yes,
So you
sir.
have the blitz and you got the funnel down defense, or what else did you get
I think I
in your
got
package?
the run and
Oh,
jump.
run and jump.
Yeah, yeah, I got that. Those two.
Okay, those two. Okay. All
And
right.
what's the funnel down? Is that where you just everything in the middle? Is that how it works?
It think about it's out to the alleys, which is, out wide. You want to force people because that gives you an extra defender, right? And then from there you're funneling down into the short corner of the basketball court or out to this out all the way to the out to the um coffin corners as well. So the whole
Oh,
idea is just, shrink the court and then funnel them down into the short corner or out to the coffin corners. Why the short corners? Because the backboard acts as another defender to it's hard to throw through the backboard, right? So that's
right.
one of the concepts there. Uh, uh, Generally with the funnel down, it's just shrinking the court size. The one thing I found, like I've run Steve, the host on the podcast, he created the funnel down defense. I've also worked with the lock left defense. And what I found with those types of concepts is I on defense, I like the rules because it, you know, we try our best. What's the goal of any defense? Keep the other team from scoring or scoring less, right? But that is so vague in my opinion. Like, okay, well, how do I do that? What do I do? And with these more, I'll call them more structured and focused defenses, they give you a very specific thing you're supposed to do. Funnel them into, a couple spots, right? And that's it. That's your whole idea. And you build your defense around just creating that funnel. So you know that another team is likely going to score, but if we can give the kids a very specific task to do on defense, especially at the younger grades, I find that to be okay, great. I got to go. I got to put my feet here because I'm trying to push them into a spot. But um,
Right,
that's
right.
what I like about those types of defenses. But
Do
let's
you,
okay,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh,
No, go ahead. You got a
do
question.
you run that on
I
with your?
do, yeah. I run both. I run the funnel down and the lock left. I was running lock left for a long time until Steve created the funnel down for youth. So we actually just started implementing that. But the concept, the basically the difference is where you funnel people. And so, um,
Like instead of the middle or
yeah,
outside?
exactly. So, yeah.
And
So
now,
the concepts are all the same. It's like you're point them in a specific direction. So it was
right.
easy for us to transition between the two.
And do you do the run and jump as well?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And I think, go ahead.
oh yeah, what were you
It's
gonna ask?
run and jump more like the press, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
press
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
transitions into the funnel down.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Okay.
actually, yeah, because with the run and jump, you can then point them in a specific direction. You can push them out to the alleys as they're coming up the court. So, yep, exactly. Uh, the thing I like about the run and jump too is it just gets the kids in this mentality that, you know, in a press, you're pressing the full court. It's not just like if you think about maybe like a 2-2-1, uh, for some reason kids get locked in, oh, we're only going to do it on one half of the court press, and then soon as the press quote unquote broken, uh, then we're going to stop pressing and just get back into our defense. Well, with the run and jump, the philosophy there is you go full court no matter what. So um, and that seems to just instill that toughness in them. And then the hardest thing with the run and jump, I mean, really with any press is, you know, teaching the kids how to be quick, right?
Mhm.
And realizing how quick they actually have to be in order to make any press work. I don't care if it's a 1-2-2 or 2-2-1 or what have you. They're all you have to move, right? It's
Right.
otherwise, it doesn't matter what you run. If the kids are not moving on the ball with the ball, then it's just going to break down. I like the run and jump. So how I started teaching that is I said, okay, just get man to man, right? And I actually even broke it down. Why don't we go? So we're going to talk about the run and jump. We're going to talk about the blitz. I can show examples of how I broke both of those down, and that might help. But let me make sure I get I want to get your questions or at the end of this call, what do you hope to achieve so we're clear on your objectives?
Yeah, I guess it really, I know it's funny we start going on defense, but
I know.
uh, I mean, I
Yeah.
am curious about that as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, the purpose was more about the blitz, like, and where do you start? What
Hmm.
is the progression, right? Just kind of like, all right, you got step A done. What's the next step B? And you
Yeah.
move on as far as the progression. And then I guess the other couple questions that came to my mind was, how does this correlate with the primary break, secondary break? Is that
Hmm.
all inside of the blitz offense? Do we not need to worry about that anymore? Um, things of that nature.
Hmm. Okay.
Then I guess I did a little bit of reading on what you sent me, just
Hmm.
kind of about, I guess how you deal with like different defenses, 1-2-2, the 1-3-1, and how you
Yeah.
break that with the blitz offense. So I guess really it's just kind of getting a better understanding of the blitz offense. I'm familiar with the zoom action and different actions like that. And then, but I guess the implementation of it, like, where do I start? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And I know you mentioned that you have the younger grades too. So the Blitz is my program's offense. So as young as third grade all the way up to high school. So we run it throughout. And obviously it can get more complicated as you go through the older grades, right? And when I say complicated, it's helping them make the reads based on what's happening on the defensive side. So I don't expect my third graders to make the reads that my varsity team, right, is making. So and that's where it becomes even starting in, I would even say starting in fifth and sixth grade, they're making some basic reads because I'm pushing them to make those basic reads and what to look for. And but when it gets to like even my seventh and eighth grade team, it's really hard to scout because they're making the reads based off what the defense is showing. So the defense gets confused, right? They think the only thing that's pretty consistent are the screens, and then after that, once they start making the reads, then then it becomes pretty amazing because and I can walk through some of that stuff, but that's why I love the blitz. One of the things that you had said too is one year you might have five girls on your team that their basketball IQ is off the charts, and the next year you may have one person that can dribble the ball and the other girls are still in development, right? And then so what the blitz allows you to do is let your superstars shine and let those other girls kind of just be all involved, but be involved where their comfort level is to start. And then once they get that, when what I've seen is once they get a little bit more comfortable with the offense and the pace of it, then they want to do more as well. And it's pretty fascinating. So you can keep them in their quote unquote lane for a while until they develop and until you're even comfortable with what they can do within the blitz, right?
right.
If you have shooters, even better. I never have shooters. I don't know why. I mean, working on it. But we don't have those outside just knockdown 3-point shooters yet. If you have that and some inside threats, then the blitz is even that much better. Even if you have one shooter. I got one girl that's coming up now that it should be a pretty good shooter, and it's just going to open up so many more opportunities off the blitz. Because when people start sagging on the offense a little bit, she's going to shoot from the outside. And then when they start switching screens and up in her face, she's just going to drive and kick. So it's going to be even be that much more potent.
Nice. That
Okay.
sounds fun.
You what?
I said that sounds fun.
Yeah, right. Oh, and that's what, again, that's what I always say too. It's an offense that, uh, you can mold around your team. And for us as coaches, we get excited when our teams grow and their basketball IQ grows and they just like those light switches and light bulbs just start going on and they're like, oh, okay, Um, that's what I love about the blitz. It allows for that. I'm just gonna pull it up and I'll show you where I start just at the base level. I mean,
Okay.
my third grade team, a great example. I started with them, brand new team. Um, see, we're just in January, and they picked up level one immediately.
Okay. Now, do I need to go on this information that you sent me, or just kind of
No, I'm
watch
gonna
it?
pull up my screen right now. I'm just pulling it up so you can see it here.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, can you see my screen?
Well, I can get my glasses on if I need to.
Well, no, you can see something though, right? I'll make it
Oh
bigger in
yeah,
a
oh
second
yeah, I
here.
can see.
Okay. Okay. So the base offense, again, what you're trying to do is create this triple gap. And typically where you see this triple gap form is on the first and second possessions. Okay. And this is where you have to train your kids to see that gap. And that's just base level. But how it starts is, again, you do 2 down screens.
Wait, hold on. I
Uh,
don't see what I have just words on my screen.
oh,
Yeah, summary of the transcript.
all right. Why isn't that showing? Let's see if I can do. I know why. Okay, can you see what do you see now?
I just still see it says, "Welcome to the
You
episode of Coaching Youth Hoops."
don't see
Just
anything?
oh,
What am I sharing then? Oh, that's not good. Let me try that again. Now you should see the offense. But now it's paused. Why is it paused? Why is it giving me difficulties today?
oh, there
There
you
we
go.
go. Okay.
Now I'm with you.
And let me go back out to see if I can show you better here. Can you see the animation on your screen?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So the basic beginning is, your point guard chooses a side they want to dribble out, left or right. Uh, and then that triggers your guards 2 and 3, both of them, to set down screens, right? So they set their down screens. One dribbles to the side, uh, and now you can see four is going to come up and get the dribble handoff. But what you have on this side is the triple gap. Okay, so you get this huge gap right here.
Right.
Um, and I'm going to go through, some different scenarios, but this is the basic offense, and it just goes back and forth. I mean, literally, you just go back and forth. We go back and forth sometimes at down screen ball handoffs. If we're in our delay set, I mean, we had we were in a tournament not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, and I had 5 girls, and we're playing a varsity level tournament with 5 girls, and uh we had to go in this delay set because our girls were just running out of steam, and so we were just doing ball handles. We ended up winning, uh which was even better. But they just got into the delay set, going back and forth, back and forth. And what do you think the coach is yelling? Go trap the ball, right? The other coach. And then as soon as we hear that, we attack. And it just made scoring that much easy for us. But anyway, you could just literally go back and forth with this in a delay set, right?
Right.
So that's the basic, that's level one. The
Okay.
goal of it all is to try to create this triple gap. It's what we're trying to do. Okay.
So tell me a little bit. Why is it called that triple gap?
Because basically you're 3 passes away from
Okay.
yeah. And this is probably not you're setting you're setting the ball handoff just outside of the lane line extended, and you want to keep it to that one side. You do not want to do ball handoffs over here because that's going to take away this triple gap. You're just going to have a double gap. We want as much room as possible. So it's really important that if you look at do you have a volleyball court painted on your court?
Uh,
Yeah, so it's usually where that line intersects right here with the volleyball court. The 3 in the volleyball court is typically kind of where we're seeing, kind of that set happen. the ball screen or of the ball handoff. So
Okay.
a couple feet off of this lane line extended. Does that make sense?
Yep, makes perfect sense.
Okay, cool. All right. So then from there, a couple things we're teaching them. What's really important is that 5 is patient. You got to teach patience, because let's think about what's going on right here. You have x5 and 5, right? You have what's not depicted here, just for simplicity's sake, is where's 3x, right? Or x3, right? Defender. Well, they're somewhere going to be down here as well, right?
Right.
And likely what are they're switching. Okay. And I'll go through that and how we handle switches. And you know, we create some plays off of switches, and that's where it gets really interesting. And you guys will be able to do this at the varsity level, no problem. I don't teach it at my younger levels just yet. But anyway, so that's what's happening. So all that, we got a bunch of congestion down here, and that's exactly what we want. We want to keep this here, right? So 4 is basically going to have one person to beat, which is probably, they're going to switch on this as well. They're going to have X1 defender to beat, and they're trying to get around this corner, really attacking this elbow here, this elbow area. Okay. And then what happens, of course, you can probably imagine, you're going to have kick out opportunities if, you know, if the weak side defenders come over. You're going to have kick out opportunities for 3 and 5, right? So you'll have that that's created there. But that's the base level, okay? All right. So let's look
that's
at
the first thing I need to.
Yeah, just to get them, they'll, you know, again, varsity kids will pick that up real soon. Just to emphasize, and you'll learn that maybe 10 minutes if you have, you know, kids that understand that. And of course, all of the basic setting up the defensive person when you set a screen, right? You know, the whole idea of creating good screens, right? And how to set up the defender for a good screen. You follow me when I'm saying there? Like, you still have to have those basic principles. Okay. Let's go to this. So this is kind of how this is kind of how it plays out. So you saw four is taking the ball. They're trying to get around that corner. You have 1 that's rolling to the basket as well. 3 replaces 5. 5 comes up to the top. Okay.
Right.
To create some movement here, just to keep the defender occupied down here. All right. And we just wanted to create a little bit of movement. And that sometimes number 2 is open. In this particular case, 5 is open most of the time up on the top of the key. And what we have our kids do is when 5 comes up, so remember this was weak side, they're calling I got top. And that's what's really important. So 1, I got top because you can turn and kick out to me, or I got top just in case we lose the ball and they're headed in the other direction and we have to transition to defense. So 5 becomes your person that gets back first in defensive transition.
And that could vary on who
Yes,
gets back on defense.
exactly. It's going to vary who's in this spot. In this example, it's the 5, but yeah, it's going to vary who fills that. Next time through, it could be the 3, and they're calling I got top. Okay. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
A lot of times they're really they're open most of the time on that kick out, because 5's defender sags because they see the ball and they kind of, oops, just lost my headphone. They go after the ball, and 5's open up on that top.
Okay. If the ball goes, let's say for some reason the ball goes to 5, 5 doesn't shoot it, they just initiate. They start the continuity again. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah, they start it all over again. Yep. And typically what I like to do is if they get the ball, then we run it to the other side, right? But it doesn't really matter at that point. It's like, okay, who's ready, who's set up to run the continuity again.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
All right, and then you can see in here, right, 4 kicks out to 5 in this particular case. The roller, which was 1, actually, let me do this bigger. The roller, which was 1, right, fills in. 4th throws to 5, 3 comes up, 4 fills, and now you're just going to be back in a 5-out, basically 5-out set, right? So now you're back where you started. Okay, so now that you got the basics, let's just we'll run this.
So Bill, am I correct? This pretty much starts in a 5-out configuration. Is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
You'll
anybody,
see. What's that?
anybody can be in those positions.
Correct. Yeah. And now I just think it's easier. And we want to teach my philosophy is we want to get all players involved, and what they do in those spots may differ. Like, again, let's say your 5 is not a shooter. They know they're not going to shoot that, right? So you give them, well, what can you do up here? Well, you can just initiate the offense again. And that's the beauty about this is you can initiate the offense again. Maybe you're more comfortable taking, attacking the basket and shooting from the free throw line, right? Right. So you can give them your individual players, I guess, rules, so to speak, of what they're comfortable doing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to emphasize too, and again, this is the high level overview, and let's just kind of play the full animation through. So, whoops, let me start that over. Can you see the full animation? The smaller
Yes,
screen? Okay, I want to make sure. So you got this. Let's just kind of let it play through. You can just see it just starts all over again, right? So setting your screens.
nice.
Yeah, so it's just just kind of back and forth. And it goes. Yep, that makes sense. It looks like you got to fix an animation, but yep, that's the general idea.
And you call this the layer 1.
I think about it as layer 1. This is just foundation level, just to get the basics down.
Okay. And inside layer 1, you have 7 phases. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just kind of depicting. I don't want it. Just depicting. I broke it down that way just so you could see the different movements and the continuity. But yeah, I don't typically think about it as 7 phases. I just think about it as one, or maybe 2, where you're getting into the down screens and then how the continuity works together. I just broke it out into small pieces here to show, right, how everything kind of flows together.
No, this helps. So I know like layer 1 is where we start, and that's
where you start. Yep. And and some may think that's really basic, but we score a lot off of just layer 1, and I'll tell you why. Is now we know how to set up our screener. Now we know how to set a good screen. I have, like, for example, this is a perfect example. My player number 3, she is so good at hitting this down screen. Now we're talking about kind of getting into some layer 2 things. She's so good at hitting this down screen and then opening up towards the ball. She literally is open every single time, where I'm disciplining my team to say, can you just look down at her? Because she's literally open and has a seal on that defender 90% of the time.
Okay.
Right. And now my player 2 is not so good at that. And I'm okay with that. Right. It's like, okay, let's play in your zone, your lane. You're good at creating dribble opportunities. You don't have to open up and seal and try to get right. But but now they look at that seal as a badge of honor. Where like, hey, I got a seal, right? I was wide open, and they're starting to communicate a lot better with their teammates too, on and off the court. Say, hey, this, for whatever reason, this particular defender is not is a is not fighting that seal, right? So hey, make sure you're looking on that ball handoff to hit me right away, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. That's the type of stuff where you see where they grow with the offense and they see those opportunities. And it's like, I don't know, for whatever reason, this particular player just loved doing that. And she's just a beast at it right now. It's kind of fun to see that growth.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that.
Okay. So that's layer one.
Okay.
Okay. So let me pull.
And layer one,
I'm gonna
I
go
guess on
through
the stages
this.
of progression from 5th grade to 12th grade, that's probably where you're gonna probably stay, right? 5th and 6th grade, maybe go to layer two.
Yeah, probably go to some things on layer two, definitely. But just getting them to, I got to set a good screen. I got to set my player up to use the screen, right? And
Right.
that's, I guess, what I didn't emphasize. And that was my point where I got to set my player up. I'm going to learn some basic screen stuff. I have to learn how to do a dribble handoff the right way, right? I have to learn how to attack the basket. So all of these fundamentals that we should be teaching our kids, um, they can learn within this offense, and layer one will get them a long way if they're good at those basics, and we focus on those basics.
Okay.
Does that make
I like-
sense? Because it's all part, no matter what, even if they leave your program and go to another program, they're going to have to learn how to set the proper screen. Right? You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like we're not teaching them anything that they're not going to use anywhere else. And that's again, that's why I love it. And really why I created the Blitz was I was just like you. I had one year I would have a player that I had one superstar and the other, four didn't play a lot of basketball. They touched the ball during basketball season, and that was it. Right. And what I noticed, like, I tried 5 out, the weak side, they just became ball watchers and just let the superstar do their work and maybe would get a rebound or two and a putback, right? Or they just didn't understand what to do next. Because if you think about it, like a 5 out offense, even with some simple rules, they have to remember, okay, well, what happens in this particular situation? What do I do? Or they just weren't, I don't know. I just found that it was very difficult for them, as basic as a 5 out might be, to understand it. But for whatever reason, they're picking this up really easily. And this has been in the making for a number of years, and I've tested it on, like I said, third through high school. And they really enjoy that everyone is getting involved. There is no ball watching, right? They understand what we're trying to do, which is create this triple gap, and make room for layups, right? At the end of the day,
Right.
that's what we're really trying to do, like I said, because I didn't have a 3-point shooter. You add a 3-point shooter to this, it's amazing what can happen.
Definitely. Yeah, I can see that. That really stretches the defense.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that.
Whoops. Okay. Next up. This is that just shows the continuity. Um, uh, so one of the things, let's see, go through this. One of the things that, oh yeah, this is the one I wanted to show you. Okay, so we got the basic level. The one thing that you have to get used to, and you have to train your kids right from the beginning, is on this ball handoff. The whole idea behind the offense is to attack this triple gap, right? And what happens, you got your roller that just did the ball handoff here. Two always just has to take a look. They got to try to one or two dribbles in, see what happens, put pressure on the defense. Maybe they can make it all the way. That's where you're kind of like, okay, I know a girl that can make this all the time. Anytime you get the ball, I want you attacking, right? Where maybe again, your four players not so confident on that ball handling and attacking, but they're great. They can make a few dribbles on the ball handoff and play the roller, really well as an example. So my point being is just get them after they get this ball handoff, take a look and attack. Can I get 1, 2, or all the way to the 1 or 2 dribbles or all the way to the basket? And
Right.
the one thing that I just started saying and doing and really putting a lot of emphasis on is, what do you do when you first get the ball? You look at the rim, right?
Right.
And that you just look at the rim, grab the ball, look at the rim, because now you can see what's going on in front of you. Because a lot of times they'll get that ball handoff, they'll put the head down and just worried about the next ball handoff, right? Well, look at the rim, right? See that girl that just opened up on the down screen and she's wide open. See if we can hit her. Look for your cutter, right? Oh, can I drive? Let me see if I can get around this corner really quickly. Because what I noticed even when I first started with the blitz is they got really good at the ball handoffs, but they missed the triple gap. Because they were like, okay, I gotta, so worried about the next ball handoff. So that's what I had. Just like, as soon as you get the ball, eyes on the rim. And that's
Mhm.
really helped. Does that make sense so far? What I'm
Yes.
trying to say there
Well,
is
yeah,
attacking that.
that's what my girls will get the ball. Well, coach, can you go back to that screen real quick?
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
gonna ask a question on there. But you're right, because a lot of times the girls, they're very mechanical, right? They're like gonna get the ball, this is what
Correct.
I mean, I've got to a point where now I told my girls, look to shoot first, look to drive second, and then get triple threat. Before it was triple threat, and then they just wouldn't even look at the basket. So I
Yeah, I don't
like
look, yeah.
that. That number one, after number one gives the handoff,
Hmm.
that person is going on the outside of her hip or his hip. Does it matter which way they turn to cut to the basket to roll? Does-
So, do you, yeah, so that's always the question is, it, I'm gonna say, I always keep it simple. It's a roll versus a dive. And I always say dive to the basket. That's my philosophy. So you're kind of, when you dive to the basket, you're more opening up to that defender and hitting him on the shoulder versus a roll where you're kind of sealing them. Um, and the reason I like the dive, it's a little bit quicker. And I find that coaches train more um, how to protect on the roll versus the dive. And I, dive and I just got my hand out for a bounce pass, kind of down towards my knee a little bit more.
Right.
That's what I teach. And again, does it matter a roll versus a dive? No, I don't. It hasn't. I mean, I got some girls that still will do more of a roll versus a dive, and it doesn't matter too much. I just find that the dive is a lot quicker.
Okay. Okay. So their hand, they're not really. I guess they are in essence setting a screen, but then they're just diving down
They
like that.
are kind of setting a screen because what happens is you just hear it. It's a chorus of switch, 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 switch. So that's why this roller a lot of times is open off of that switch.
Okay.
So they get stuck behind the defense. I mean, they get stuck behind the offense, number
Okay.
one. Because one's the so yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, I said that right. Yeah. That's what happens typically in that situation. Okay, so this is just the same kind of continuity now. Um, okay, let's go through some basic reads then. We'll play this one.
And coach, is this the basic reads under your layer one?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened? Whoops, what happened there? Let me see, make sure this is the right one. Okay. So yeah, you can see here in this particular situation, what you have a lot of times is, so 4 on the weak side, 4 sets the screen, and X4, who's now they've yelled switch, is supposed to be on 1, goes and attacks the ball, and that leaves 1 wide open you know, as they're coming to the top. Okay. And you know, anywhere along this curved line here, they're gonna a lot of times they're open. And when they're not open is if one is a shooter and the coach is yelling, hey, you know, go get that shooter, right? But then what happens is 4 becomes wide open because they got this seal on X1 because they just yelled switch, and 4 jumps this right here to get the ball from 2 turning the corner. And those are the reads that I'm talking about that the girls start making after a while.
Oh, I got you. That makes sense.
And then what happens here on the ball side, a lot of confusion, right? This is a big old mess here, which we want, especially on the defense. So see where a lot of times two's defender is either getting behind right here or trying to come over the top of the ball handoff. So they're either going under or over. They're yelling switch. So X5 picks up 2. When 5 rolls, X2 is usually behind.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why that we can hit the roller a lot of times as well.
Wow. And how, I guess, defensively would you stop that zoom action?
Probably, well, again, it depends. If you have shooters, it's a little bit tougher. But if you don't have shooters, you just kind of just like a pack line type of defense and sagging defense. You can try to zone it, but as we talked about, you still get layups off the zone. Right? I haven't, you know, met a definitely not in grade school and even in high school where the zone is disciplined enough to stay put. Do you have a shot clock?
No, sir.
Yeah, so without even, you know, you don't have a shot clock, so you're going to eat a zone up all day long because they won't be able to handle the movement. And what we do, I usually punish teams that try to run a zone because we just get in that delay game that we talked about and the ball handoffs back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then when the zone gets really aggressive and out of their zones, that's when we attack. And I'll show you some of that as well.
Okay. Nice.
Because what do you suppose, right? What do we always teach kids against a zone defense? Overload one side, you know, swing the ball, attack the gaps, right? On the right. That's what we, you know, quick passes. Well, this blitz, it's built in to do that automatically. And so it gets the zone defense, and this is what we want with the zone defense, right? Going back and forth, really quickly following the ball, doing their thing into the ball, then it opens up these big gaps because they're just moving so much.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then
Wow.
what even is like even more like a 2-3 zone because of the down screens that happen, you automatically have those seals then right away on both sides, and then you have an overload. And we hit a high low all the time against that type of zone, especially then when you start attacking the middle that pulls up that middle defender, and then you have the 2 girls at the block wide open, and it's just they just can't cover it enough. Okay, so roll read, we kind of went through some of that. You know, that's just hitting the roller, seeing what's available on the roller side, but we can just we can take a look at this here. I think it's the same one though. Oops, wrong one. Is that the one I just did? Oh yeah, here it is. So 2 gets around the corner. You can see where 5 ends. X2 ends up behind 5. X4 comes over to help, and then 5's gonna be wide open.
All right.
And again, this is obviously quick It's not like, you have all day down there, as defense will catch up to it, but there are windows that you'll see, and you just have to train the girls on those windows. And then when they start sagging a little bit, what we typically do then is just attack and kick, and then attack again, right? So again, if you don't have shooters, we're just constantly attacking the middle and kicking. And I always tell them, I don't care if you have one dribble and that's all you can do. You just attack and seal and kick out, and keep on doing that, because the defense is eventually going to break down if you're just constantly attacking. And that's when the reads start coming into play as well, where the girls they're seeing the defense collapse and sneaking in behind to get a quick, easy dump. So,
Okay, that makes sense.
all right, this is the driving kick. Again, nothing fancy here. Kind of just still in this layer one type of stuff. Driving kick. I don't have the shot. X4 comes over. This person is open a lot up on the top.
Okay.
Even if, what I train my girls to do is, split step. As soon as you get the ball, split step, go. Just attack. Just attack. Again, that's because I usually don't have shooters. My one shooter that I do have, it's kind of the opposite. I say to her, look to shoot, and then look to drive.
Okay.
If I leave it up to them, I think that just it causes too much confusion on what I should do in every single scenario. So and what I mean by that is, okay, I'm kind of going in order. I'm a shooter. Okay, I'm going to look to shoot right away. Everybody else, their order is drive and kick.
Right.
First drive, then kick. Then, or again, you get kind of into your personnel a little bit. I have some that, maybe I don't want them to put the ball to the ground too much, right? So I'm not having them drive, right? They're just running the continuity and doing the ball handoffs and going in for rebounds, right?
Right.
That's why it's flexible based on your personnel.
Just individualizing. Okay.
You can, yeah, absolutely.
I
You
like
set
that.
your base, and then you have opportunities. Yep. Okay. So that's kind of your base level. That's just your good old fashioned kind of screen and rolls, kicks, drives, down screens, right? Just some fundamental stuff that it has a continuity built in, like I said, and you just keep on going with it until you see a gap.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I like this.
So the biggest thing you're going to have to recognize, especially at the varsity level, is switching defenses. And switching, I mean, on one time I'm in a man, and then I switch to a 2-3, then I switch to a 1-2-2. I don't know how often that happens, but definitely there's at least a man to a zone and it's back to a man. Those types of things we see a lot. Um, our kids are getting pretty used to picking that up, or I'm calling it out. They're in a zone, right? Or during a timeout to say, hey, look for these indicators. It doesn't matter too much, honestly, though, if they're switching. The only one that matters is the 1-2-2. And even then, on a possession or two, you're running the basic zoom. They're like, okay, I gotta my screening position might be a little bit different, but I'm always, again, the philosophy. I mean, I just remember this game we were in, and they threw they went from a man to a 3-2 zone, and I'm like right here calling a timeout, and they scored off of it, and I'm like, okay, fluke. Let's let it play out one more time, right? They went
Yeah.
back down to the court again and figured it out. And I'm like, hey, I'm sitting down. I'm gonna be a spectator on this game. I'm gonna just watch these kids play it out, And when I say that to you, I want to be very clear. you know, my girls are multiple sport athletes. They don't play basketball, year round. They are, there's other kids that we play against that are much better athletes, that do that and also play basketball year round, and we can beat them here because we're patient,
Okay.
right? And just working the basic fundamentals the right way. Um, so when I say that, when they're making these reads and things, they don't, I probably have out of 5 teams, and if I and predict the future, I probably have one that might end up playing in college. You know what I mean? Out of those 5 different teams. Um, I hopefully more, but we'll see. I mean, a couple of them are just are pretty good. Okay, let's talk about refusing the screens.
Okay.
So, one of the things we don't see, I put this in here because we definitely see it, but honestly, I have to be better at helping the kids look for it. So all we're doing is just refusing the down screen on the ball side. You can see she's just making her move coming up, and then we can hit her on that, right? So
Yeah.
pretty simple, pretty basic right there. The bigger one that we actually see is this one. And I think the reason is I just think our kids like it better. And I don't care, honestly. If they're more comfortable with it and they're running it, this is the one we see a lot. So especially after the offense has been running
Right.
in the continuity for a while, and the defense, thinks they know what's going to happen, and that's when we hit them with a counter. So in this particular case, it's just hitting. She goes to down screen, and she just opens up and goes to the basket and catches them
And
off.
she's not opening, so she's facing the baseline. And when this is where
Exactly.
dive, she just dives.
She just
She doesn't.
dives.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Do you ever
And
see the type of refusal on the weak side?
we do, and I think I have that in here too. So yeah, definitely. And then we hit that. Yeah. So in this case, it would be 1 to 5, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think we only have, you practice 5 days a week, 6 days a week, or where do you
No,
go
like three.
during the season?
Yes. We have only one basketball court, and we have a lot of teams, and so it's been very difficult. And our basketball court shares with our fine arts, so we have a big old stage in
Oh
there.
no. Okay. All
So
right.
we have plans to build another gym, another competition gym, just for athletics.
Yeah. Okay. So 3, and you go what, 90 minutes?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, what, but you're starting to practice now, right? I mean, you can.
Yeah, when I can.
Yeah. Okay. So if you get the base level down and some of these basic reads, and then by the season comes along, now you can start getting into more of the reads. And I'm gonna share with you one thing that we see a lot and how to counter it. But before we go into that, let's look at uh, oh, that's right. So one of the things, yeah, that's I want to emphasize this. So our right now, again, everybody's switching these down screens and everything, right? So when you switch that down screen, two's defender was defending 4. So now they're behind, and that's why she's opening up. So anytime they hear that now and they yell switch, 4 a lot of times is opening up, right? And see if we can get this action going right here. So that's just a trigger. And there's a couple other things I've added recently. I'll we can come back on and I'll share those as you uh get through this a little bit more, where what we're doing is on switching to is, in this case, we're screening our own players now. So and we're screening 2 is screening X2 on a switch. So it gets a little bit more complicated, but it is something that I added to, because we're hearing switching all the time. So just as another way of creating scoring opportunities, because on a switch, and when you screen your own man, it creates a lot of confusion on defense, and that's what we're looking to do, and it creates wide open opportunities, but that takes a little bit of doing. Okay. This is a recent action I added. One, because it just adds another element of surprise to the situation. And my kids, I don't know, sometimes they just gravitate to certain things. They
Right.
just love this action. So it's called a grenade. And let me back up to set this up. So in this case where I don't know if necessarily the right numbers, but I should have that looks like I'll need to further explain this. But in the case where there's a drive or an attack, or four gets the ball in the post, but can't score. Basically what we're doing is we're doing a dribble handoff again. So 4 dribbles out of that, and then hits the wing on a dribble handoff, and they attack. And what's happening is the weak side is all occupied over here. A lot of times you only have one person to beat then down in this corner, which is 4's player. We're seeing hitting shots here in the short corner, or a lot of reverse layups. They're coming through and hitting reverse layup here. So
where's this action? I'm kind of, I
yeah,
didn't pick.
sorry. Yeah, so what happens a lot of times is, in the case of, if we look at this, maybe this scenario, if 4 gets the ball, so 4 refuses the screen or curls right and goes off of here, and they end up right here. 1 sees that and throws the ball to the post. A great example of what happens a lot. And then but maybe there's a extra helper. 4's not comfortable trying to score. They're not a back to the basket player. So what 1 always does now is, as 1 is dribbling out 2, has the ball, throws it into, I'm sorry, 4 now has the ball in the post.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay.
And
So
where's
then one will come and rescue them with a
and get
dribble handoff.
okay, I got you. So
And
one will go down to the post for a handoff.
about mid-range, you can see it right here.
Oh, I
Right.
got you. Four will dribble.
Right. 4 is dribbling out, 1 is meeting them. And I just reminds me, as I'm explaining this now, I got to draw this out, how this typically happens. And then what 2 does, what 2 is doing at this particular time is they either cleared out already, cleared through. We 1 is yelling grenade, so that means 2 is just going to basically clear.
Oh, I got you. Grenade get
So
away.
yeah, grenade getaway, exactly. So yep.
Okay, I like
So
that.
and then 4 rolls right after or dives to the basket after the handoff. Same type of thing. Handoff, typically happens up here at the top of the wing. No
Mhm.
different when it happens here. We still want 4 maybe to go to the top of the key right here. Or not top of the key, just right below the free throw line for an outlet pass if they need it. So you can see kind of how they just roll there. And I'll draw this out better though. It just reminds me, like,
No, I understand it now. I mean, I get it. That four is refusing the screen, goes down,
yeah,
has the ball, and coming to meet number 1 on a dribble handoff, then dives back to the basket.
And a
And
lot of times what we're calling this too is we're calling this after a timeout. We'll just call, they just know go into a grenade. Well, after a timeout, after quarter, what have you. And I may just say, hey, grenade, and call grenade, and then they'll run grenade. And basically what happens then is um, four may just go start out at the wing and just go into the post and get the ball in the post and then dribble out of it. So really depends.
are you seeing anything as a coach during the game that will trigger you to call that grenade? Or are you just trying to mix
Mi-
things?
Uh, uh, yeah, I'm trying to mix things up. Is there anything in particular? Um, maybe if not necessarily off of a grenade, but if I see a mismatch, I tell my posts, hey, let's create a mismatch because they're switching on those screens. See what you can do in the post, right? And if you don't have anything in the post, then you just dribble out and get into a grenade.
Okay. I
So
like that.
you don't necessarily like not necessarily seeing anything particular in the game other than that maybe a potential mismatch. Or where I would run this more is if I actually had a like dominant post player. Because
Oh,
they could attempt to score, and if they can't, then they just dribble out of it, right? So
right.
basically then what it becomes is a 4-out 1-in. Um, I don't have that drawn up here, but you could run this out of a 4-out 1-in too. So
Right.
um,
I'm with you. And
okay.
then that person can, yeah, can't get the score, then are unable to score, can dribble out, hand
They can
off.
dribble out. Yeah. And then yeah. And
No, that's yeah, I understand that. And I like the grenade part. That will, I mean, I'm sure my girls will be able to identify with that. So
yeah, I don't know. The kids just they like it. I don't know why. I'm okay with it. I don't care. You know, they like it. Let's do
I
it. Right? They feel
can see my
comfortable with it.
girls. They probably want to run it all the time. I'm like, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the only thing. You can't have them run it all the time. Okay, this is what you'll run into a lot. Messi keeper. And what happens in Messi keeper is uh three's defender gets in between you and the ball handler.
Oh
Or the
yeah.
ball handoff, I'm sorry. Three's defender gets in between the ball handoff. Okay. So basically what this is the full no. Okay, let's go to the next one. So instead of getting the ball handoff, what happens is uh one positions themselves, one who has the ball. So the ball handoff is happening on my right hand side because three's going to come up and get the ball. I can't get the ball. I'm turning now. I'm one with the ball. I'm turning over, kind of setting a screen on 3X, and then I throw over the top to hit three.
So I'm trying to set a screen with my bottom. I'm
With
holding
my
the
bottom, I have the ball, right? I,
that.
I'm trying, and I'm just getting in the way and opening up into X3. That gives three enough space. Then you hit 1 to 3.
Okay. And that's if the defender is ahead of the person trying to get the handoff.
That's right. Yep. Yep. And so that's called Messi keeper, and you immediately go into that. That's not a call. That's not if that defender gets in the way of that ball handoff, you just get into Messi keeper right away. And three, let's see, does this show it here?
Do you have any footage on that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I need to
But
add some footage here. Hold on here.
I mean, I can see what you're talking about. So if I notice, oh, that defender is coming first, I pick the ball up, I pivot, bump
Yep,
her.
bump her. Yep. And you can see three is going right off the shoulder of one. So it's literally like a screen you're coming off the shoulder. And because what you're trying to also do is pinch that defender right between 1 and 3. Yeah.
What happens if that defender X1 picks up three?
Uh, usually, usually that doesn't happen. Um, but when that does happen, if three's a shooter, they're gonna have a wide open shot right here, right? If they get that ball, because they're X1's gonna be late to the party. But if he does cut them off, so let's say X1 jumps and cuts three off right there. Then we just do a clear out, and then now what happens? So three just goes through. What typically is supposed to happen in that scenario then? Two needs to be aware of that. They then come up and get the ball handoff.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So that's right. So two is going to be at this point going to be out here watching this action. And if they see no ball handoff and no over the top on Messi keeper, they come up right away and get the ball. Because what's happening too is this is crazy. X2's defender is worried about three, so they kind of got their eye on three. Two is kind of just hanging out a little bit, not really doing anything. So that also means X2 is hanging out, not doing anything with their feet, right? And the two just comes up and gets the ball, and they're open most of the time,
Those are what, yeah, that's be hard to guard, especially girls or not.
especially
I
girls.
guess not just, yeah, on that level. Yeah.
Well, because then what happens if when two comes and gets the ball, remember this whole side now is empty.
Right.
One just drops to the corner and they got a shot as well.
True. Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
that's some complex defense, but yeah.
I
They'll
mean,
probably girl will probably be open when she comes around after that pick.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't
Okay.
even, yeah. I was just thinking like I don't know if my girls could get that. But that is I like that though. So that's just a read. So like you don't even call your offense. You say, hey, get into I don't know whatever it is, Blitz offense. I don't know what you call
Blitz. Yeah, blitz. Uh-huh.
it. And they know get into it. So are there and we can go back to this. I love this what you're doing. Are there any like set plays you run out of this or you're just reading and reacting?
No, no, there are set plays. I do have a few. Do I have it?
Oh, a little quick hit. Okay. No, that's fine. And we don't have I mean, I just was
Yeah,
I'm
there. Yeah, oh yeah, we got yeah. We got some. Yeah, here they are. We got some quick hitters. Yeah, and I'm constantly adding them just to not not because I want to add more, because I think it's helpful depending on what coaches are seeing, how people are trying to defend it. And what I usually do is when I see it, I add it, but I test it.
Hmm.
And I use my teams as the labs for all this stuff. That didn't work. That's not going it, you know. Um, and this gets into sometimes we do call twist though, and this twist is exactly what I just explained to you, where three three instead of three coming up in this case to get the ball, they go out. So they come up and clear, just clear out of the way. And I'll show it on the next screen. It's a little bit better. And then what happens, two just turns and comes and gets the ball handoff. So we got this, right? This is the first action. This is what we call twist. And this is kind of a set play that we run. It also can be ran as um a read, right? So now two comes up and gets the ball and attacks, right? So
Oh yeah, I like that.
just
Yeah.
to literally to put a twist on things, right?
Right. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Wow. You know, my one of my teams, he ran one of my coaches, he ran the zoom action. He just kind of ran that the basic one where the level
Oh, just
one.
a yeah.
But that if he could have done something like that, that would have been nice because sometimes at the end of the game, some of the teams are kind of catching on. But he
That's
just
right.
ran the same thing over and over, right? Which they still had some teams just couldn't even defend it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, we
just
find, like I said, when we you and I started talking too, what I found too is if you have your foundational skills in place and you're setting up your screeners, you're bumping on the cuts, you know, you can go a long way. You're gonna run into those teams that better defenders, whatever, just the coaches, played professionally and they got some, crazy stuff that he's teaching the kids that you'll need some of this extra stuff. But um okay, so another one is, just a kick out. There's a lot of kick out opportunities. I don't think, you kind of just have to work and see where your kick out opportunities will be. Usually don't have a problem spotting someone that's open. I'm going to go through that on that one. This is just your basic kind of turn the corner. I just call this turn the corner. Um, uh, this is kind of some breakdown drills, right? That we teach. We'll just run this action where we're doing the ball handoff down screen, come off attacking the basket, come off, attack the basket, kick out, right? So we just break it down into a 3-on-3 game or even a 2-on-3, depending on where I'm at in the developmental cycle. We play a lot of 3-on-3, half court or quarter court in this case. So just to work on the different reads. This is what I was talking about. We work on the bump stop a lot, where when I'm coming up to get that ball handoff, I'm not just running up, right? I'm getting into my defender, who's coming up either on a switch situation, doesn't matter, or they got over the top of the screen. But I'm making sure I'm bumping and coming up to get the ball handoff because I want to get the ball handoff, right? So these little things, like again, going back to the fundamentals, right? If you got the fundamentals, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you run then. If you got these basic fundamentals down and you're seeing some of these things, then you can go a long way. What else do you want me to cover with you while I have you on the phone?
What about like the zones? Like
Sure.
going and facing the zone. Like sometimes we'll face a 1-2-2. We might even face a 1-3-1. We'll also face 2-3 as well. Sometimes we'll get, especially what I noticed in our league, if we're doing something really well versus a man-to-man, they'll just drop into the zone.
They'll just drop in the zone all the time. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Okay. We can look at this one a little bit. This is where it gets a little fun too. With my elementary kids, I don't teach right away. Hey, if it's a 2-3, I just have them run the blitz. And then, looking for attacking lanes, looking for the screener to open up, all those types of little things. With my older kids, I'm having them make this read though, and it's a very simple read. It's crazy how often this is open. So what happens in this particular case is you see your down. So this is a 2-3, right? Right, setting your down screens there. I'm finding at the older grades, X1 is being a little bit more aggressive, and they're a lot of times trying to trap this up top. So they're really coming over, and even if they don't, it doesn't matter too much. So this is the read I'm having them make. If 3 who's coming up now is supposed to right on the weak side, supposed to receive that handoff on the weak side, instead of coming up and getting the ball, I have them sit in here. And I can't tell you how many points we score off of this right here. Just the simplicity of this. Okay. So 4 gets the ball, immediately tosses to 3. 3 can shoot, 3 can attack, because then you have these guys a lot of times open as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about 1. When 1
Yeah.
could just
Yeah. So 1 can do a seal, and if 5 pulls up, then 1 can get in the inside right there. Or what I again, another read is if X, let's say X4 pulls in here to stop that, help stop that drive, you got one in the corner, and one can sit in the short corner, or they can go out here and they're going to be wide open. So you're going to get something quick off of it.
And then you just continue going to your blitz off, your continuity, right?
Yep. Yeah. Because moving the ball side to side, these two defenders, but this is not to, I've worked so much on like a 5-out offense, and then, okay, what's my 2-3 zone offense going to be? What's my 1-3-1 zone offense going to be? Right. And even at the elementary school, and it just drives me crazy because they don't remember. We don't have enough practice time. They're not, their basketball IQ isn't, enough to handle all these complexities, right? So what I'm finding is just getting into the blitz, especially against a zone, and these two people are running literally back and forth, and they're just we're tiring them out. Pretty soon their hands are on their knees, right? Going back and forth, and that's when we strike. That's
Wow.
when we attack. And I like you in my tournaments, I don't have a shot clock. So I always tell my girls, we just have to score one more point than they do. And literally just have to score 1 point. It's gonna be one
Right.
against 0, right? So, we don't have to be in a hurry to score. Be patient, especially against a zone, and you're gonna see those gaps open up.
Wow, I like that.
So anyway, so if 3 comes here, you can hit 4 with this pass. Now think about, look what's happening here. Okay, so you got 4 can hit a pass here, right? 4 to 3.
Yeah.
2 drifts to the corner,
Oh, nice.
right? So guess what X4 has to do? Make a decision, right? Who are they going to get? So X4 comes out, 1's going to be wide open. Okay, X5 drops, and then 3's going to have it, So again, it's the overload that we're always talked about, and it just happens naturally in this offense. And if it doesn't, you just start going to the other side.
Wow, I like that.
So this is the other thing that happens a lot against his own aura man, actually, is I think it's worth mentioning is a better picture here. Let me get, and this is where it really becomes pretty cool. So a lot of times what happens is you're running this and X1 knows that you're trying to get to the other side, right, for the ball handoff. Okay.
Right.
So coach calls a timeout, says, okay, X1, steer them up this way, right, towards half court.
Okay.
This just creates a bigger opportunity for 3. And that's when we really make the read on that, when X1 is really trying to push you and force you to half court. Then 3 just fills this gap.
Have you ever used 3 as the screener on X1?
Yeah. Yep. That's a read, right? And I have girls will make that read all day long, and some like sitting here, and I let them, because both
Oh,
work,
okay.
and I let them do it. But yeah, absolutely. You'll see, I think I even have that on there. Yeah, actually they will come set a screen, and then after that screen, they'll open up because X5 will come up and try to stop that. And then you have 3 open too. I actually have I think I put that in here.
Yeah, all kinds of options on
I
there.
got, yeah, I got to be careful because I don't want to confuse coaches. It's not that confusing, but I do want to give them scenarios. I actually have a 2-3 play that maybe I didn't put it in here because I want to run it a few more times. It's truly is a play. It's not necessarily based off well, that's not true either. It is based off the blitz because I changed it, and it just opens up some pretty incredible opportunities off the blitz. So, but it is a called play that I do sometimes against a 2-3 just to mix things up. And I can share that with you as well. Let's see, anything special here? What we see a lot on the 2-3 is if these on this particular situation, if 4 is doing a great job of posting up, just to occupy X3, it creates a lot of opportunities, especially shooting opportunities. Sometimes we want X3 to come out to leave 4 open down there. I mean, it's just, you're basically creating a natural overload. And you can read through this. A lot of times, yeah, we get this triple gap against a zone here as well, in this area, because everybody's so focused on the ball in their zone. And it gives opportunities for 4 coming off that down screen for a shot too on the weak side. What else do I want to show you really quickly here?
Oh, definitely. I can see how they can be wide open. Then if somebody else steps up, the other person's open.
Yeah, and again, I do teach them some basic zone principles, attack the gaps, fast passes if you're going to make a pass, overload one side. And I have them look for those certain things just to work within the Zoom. Okay, do I have that in here? Well, let me run you through this because it's something you did bring up. So this isn't the case where that I mentioned where X1 is really forcing high. You can see here the way I drew this out. They're really trying to maybe get a trap set here or force high to base or to half court. And what I don't like to do is come up high with get a ball handoff out here, except against a zone, because it then creates this huge gap. What I see a lot of times is X1 and X2 trying to set a trap on 1.
Right, makes sense.
So
So what is that? You had that 1-3-1?
this is running against a
That's a 2-3.
2-3. Yep.
Okay.
So that happens there. So what happens is we hit 5. 4 comes for the dribble handoff, 5, 1 rolls. So now you have this overload situation here as well. Sometimes we'll have 5 come up and set a screen for both of them, so 4 can go to the, get around that corner. And that works great too, because yeah, actually I do have that here. Good. So
Oh, okay, there it is.
yeah, so 5 comes up, sets that screen, right? They can attack, they can get downhill as much as they can at that point. Oh,
What I love about this is they're in essence doing the same thing, right? Against the different defenses. And kind of like what you said earlier, I guess what caught my attention with the blitz attack was, every year I have to teach them, all right, we're gonna play 1-3-1. This is what you got to do. And then you got to go back, oh man, they didn't play a 1-3-1, or they went to a zone or a man. And then the girls are
yeah,
like, Coach, what do we do?
yeah.
Remember our man-to-man offense.
That's right. Just go back to the basics. And, a lot of times you'll hear, I don't like necessarily like a reset per se. But if you need to, my point guard will call it out. Just, hey, because it'll be like chaos. And she's like, okay, basically say, timeout, guys. Let's just get back. Let's reset. Didn't work. Set better screens. But here's a lot of just like additional plays you can run called set or quick hitters, set plays. These typically come in handy, after, maybe a game and a half or at halftime, and you come out with a different look because at halftime the coach is saying, well, all they're doing is doing these dribble handoffs and this is how you guard this, and then boom, you hit them with a quick hitter a few times. Now they're not going to know what to do with that case. There's a bunch in here.
Okay.
Lots of slips, double screens. My new one, which I really like, is this ghost screen. So let's play the full animation on this one. So again, starts off the same, right? Come up, 4, 5, 5, just instead of 5, 4, you call it. It's a called play, right? Instead of 5 coming in that ball handoff like everybody thinks they're gonna do, because we just did that the first half of the game. 4 just keeps the ball and gets around the corner.
Oh, nice.
Right. So there's those opportunities as well. I wouldn't start with that. I would, get, I always say, let me put the defense to sleep, meaning, okay, same pattern, same pattern. Oh, guys, they're going to do this. They think they have it. And then you hit them, hit them with ghost, right? You can just say ghost, right? Call it out and boom, right? Especially if you start seeing opportunities that they're missing, the defense is getting a little lazy, they're sagging a little bit, they're whatever, right? Or maybe they're chasing and you see a ghost opportunity. Ghost works because you just put them to sleep, right?
Yeah, I can
I
see
always
that.
it's like you're hypnotizing them, right? Same thing, going back and forth, and then they think they got it, and then they don't.
Yeah,
So I really like that one. I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's variations of Ghost, fake and a dribble handoff. Peacock is another one of ours that works really well. And then you have your transition offense. It
I was
goes.
going to ask you what out of like your say our teachers on defense and transition offense, what does that look like?
So it gets right into. Do I have a really good example?
And do you have like inbounds
I
play?
do. Yep.
I'll just take it. I'm sorry. I don't want to keep jumping around. I see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely inbound plays.
You said I think you said you used your best player to throw the ball in.
I do on the press break.
But otherwise, let's say I made basket. Does it then who do you use?
My best passer, somebody that's got, you're gonna know who your best passer is. Somebody that can handle that pressure, 5-second count, right?
Uh,
Um, uh,
Typically like your 2 or 3 or
2 or 3 usually. Yeah, usually. Um, the circle press though, basically what happens, and in our press break, or in our transition offense, do I have that in here? It just reminds me though, I need to add. I have the press break, but not necessarily transition offense. I'll add that in here. Basically, if you think about this, in transition against the Blitz, the first 2 people down the court go fill the bottom spots in the coffin corners. The
all right.
next 2 come down, right, and go, or even the first one, if they're right, come down and set the down screen on the defense. Okay. And then we just come right out of the blitz out of that.
Oh, I got you. So it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah,
Third down there first goes to the corners.
that's right. Yep. Now, what I also teach is my point guard, they're always the first, or typically try to get the ball into the point guard's hands. Doesn't
Right.
always work, but I want her to have a nose for the ball. She is she knows to attack the basket on a transition right away and get as far as she can. Obviously, defense is always set up in transition, right? Inside and then out. But if she has that opportunity, shrink the defense, then you get your kickouts, right? And then you have a long closeout situation to your corners. Now, you're going to have some coaches who say, well, I always like attacking in transition, the 2 first girls ahead kind of go towards the block and they may switch and go out. I've done that before as well. But because I want an aggressive attacker, I don't want to bring the defense in Right. I want to, even if they go out a foot or two, even 6 inches for that matter, right? Because our offense is so spread out, that just gives my ball handler a better opportunity to score
Right.
versus having offense attack the start wide and then bring it in closer to the blocks. That's just kind of my philosophy, but
No, that makes sense. So really,
uh
you don't have like what your typical rim runner, do you?
I don't. I want that middle wide open for an attack.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that makes sense.
Again,
So
philosophy. You can,
your press break if a team is pressing you.
which happens about, well, starts off happening about 90% of the time. This is another thing that I always struggled through was the press break. Uh, do you go 4 across? How do you play against a 1-3-1? How do you go against a 1-2-2? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is driving me crazy. I don't have a lot of practice time. I need to come up with something that works in 99% of the occasions. So this is called our circle press break. In 1 second here, I just got to tell my buddy I gotta wait here. I got about 15 more minutes, so
Oh yeah, whenever you're done.
we can always jump back on.
Yeah, this
Um,
is my other coach. I've been talking to my other coaches about this too. They're all intrigued. So, okay, go ahead.
so our press break, think about this press break as a 5-out motion offense.
Okay.
Okay. And we start high and wide. And I need to fix this now that I'm seeing this. These 2 and 4 should be almost all the way to the sideline.
Okay.
Okay. They're really spacing out. Because what does a zone do, right? A zone, most of the time, there's zone presses. Okay. So they're compacting the middle. So
Right.
again, going back to my philosophy, if I spread my girls out a little bit wider, that may move them an inch or two a little bit wider.
Makes sense.
Okay. Because where's the zone press the weakest? In the middle, right? So we're trying to attack the middle. And this alignment is attacking. If you think about this, and you'll see it attacks the defense from behind. Versus if you look at how most press breaks are set up, they're set up where everybody is visible. And so it makes the job of the defense that much easier. Okay. So in this press break, you'll see kind of how the motion works here. Every two and one move up here, trying to get the ball to 1 or 2. I don't know why I drew it here, but I did. So first look is 1 to 5. Okay. Not open a lot because X5 comes over, and that's exactly what we want. We want X5 to come over.
All right.
So what happens then is in X3, where's X3 if the ball's here? X3 comes over. Even if they're not trapping at this point, right? They just come over to maybe force. Or in this case, it is probably a trapping press. So 1 and 3 are running to get the ball here. And we'll look how far, that's a lot of ground for 1 to cover. So this is why your best athlete needs to be here. They come in, kind of in this case, because it was thrown to the far side, they're looping across right up the middle. Okay. You'll see that, I think, in the next slide. Okay. So this is how a ball comes in. There's shifts that happen. And this is where the magic happens here. Okay. So 1 and 3 go over to defend. Whoops, drew that a little too soon. The timing's off here. I apologize. Oops. I have to redo this one. Okay, so you can see 3 is going to be wide open here for a second. Okay. And that's usually we get the ball right back to 3. And 3 goes up the middle. Well, guess who's going to have to help on that middle? X4 or X5 or X4.
Right.
And so then 5 goes down, 4 goes down, and you're usually people don't press us very much anymore because of this.
And that's what you run against
Everything,
everything, even man to man.
even man to man. Sometimes a man to man will just do a clear out.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense too.
Run and jump, we'll run it against. So, and it's just motion offense is really what it is. We got fillers coming in, right?
Oh, so three doesn't get the ball.
They
2,
just go back out and fill at the beginning formation.
okay,
And then
so
what we do is we go 1 to 2 to 4 to hit that reverse. And then remember, if 1 passes to 2, 1 now does that same pattern, cuts through and fills. So let's say 2 has the ball and passes to 4, 2 cuts up the middle. So everybody's all you have to move on this cut. After you pass, you cut up the middle to try to get the ball back.
oh, wait a second. So if 1 has the ball and passes to 2, 1 goes up the middle, 5 rotates back, correct? And then 1 goes to where 5
If I
is.
have that on, okay, I have it right here. Perfect.
Okay.
So 1 throws to 2, 1 cuts up.
And then where does 5 go?
At this point, 5 will move forward
Okay.
for an outlet. Okay.
If 1 doesn't get the ball.
If 1 does not get the ball. Usually 1 gets the ball right here.
Yeah, that would be wide open, wouldn't it?
Yeah. A lot of times it's wide open.
Like that.
There's other quick hitters and things off of it if you see certain things. Like lately, what we've been seeing, as you can imagine, this might be a good scenario. 4 is bumping 2, so 4 is coming way over. So when 1 to 2, 2 cuts, 4 is bumping 2 and almost playing them man to man for a spell. But what happens in that situation then, it's a zone, right? I have my zone. I have my area, right? I need to get back to my area after, somebody comes through, right? And that's the thing, that you're always attacking the middle, and these guys are running back and forth, what leaves a lot of times this cross pass here or this fill coming in here. So they were always attacking from behind, and they can't keep up with the attack from behind.
Wow. And then let's say you break the press, but you don't score, you're back into your blitz.
Just back in, yeah. So again, and let's say 1 gets the ball right here, gets the ball back. 5 is going corner, 3 is going corner, right? And then that leaves then that leaves 1 to see if they can attack the middle. If not, they're going to have a kick out. So, like I said, teams don't press us too long after we run this. They try to counter it, and then there's so many counters to their counters because it's set up to, that's what it's set up to do. I mean, I played against that. We have a high school team, girls team, varsity team that we played against. They are known for their press. These girls have literally been playing together since 3rd grade. Okay. They're known for their press. They run the run and jump. And I mean, they kicked our butt in the end. But the big thing for me was, if we can break their press, we can be in this game. But their athletes were so much better than us. And they could shoot outside in the end. But the coach got so mad. She threw every press at us. She couldn't slow us down in the press, and they literally just stopped pressing.
Oh wow.
And I've only seen that happen one time. Now I'm kind of biased. Anytime I see like I see a team against any sort of zone setting up in front of that zone press, I'm like, not the way to attack it. You attack from behind and sneak up from behind uh, and get them.
Mhm.
Literally, what I see too is if you think about a traditional 1-2-2, a lot of times, or even a 2-2-1, they are kind of set up really high up in this area right here on the
Right.
well, because we start in this formation, we're forcing them back. And so what that does is their typical trapping areas are pushed back, meaning they now have to run up further, which creates the opportunities up the middle
Yeah.
because they have to literally have to go up. And what we're very disciplined of what happened, or I'm sorry, we catch the ball above the 3-point line, I mean the free throw line extended.
Okay. So
And
that zone press breaker, or I'm sorry, your press breaker, that's the
mhm,
one you use against everything.
everything.
I mean, I
Yeah.
like the simplicity of this.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's simplistic. Uh, and your, depending on how your personnel are, like my one never takes the ball out. My, it's actually my best athlete is my 4. She's tall, she's strong. I always have her, and she can run. She's like, I don't know, she's amazing. And she takes the ball out and she's so smart that she knows like when to look back for the ball in this dead zone right here, and they always hit her, and she's just like a gazelle and down the other way and just goes. When this breaks down is when circle motion stops. I've gotten upset at my girls twice in a year, both times because they stopped moving on the press, and that's when the press breaks down, when they stop moving. And I we got a
Right.
little I got a little heated on them in one game, and after the game they're like, Coach, we deserve that. You're absolutely right. We deserve that. We deserve that one. So it was cute. They know I don't get mad very often, but did then.
And do you do the same thing against the half court traps? Let's say somebody does, I don't know, a 1-2-2 half court, or a 1-3-1 half court trap. Is that
I
what one?
I have definitely, because I'll just say, hey, just go run circle motion, right? Uh, and it takes them a little while to figure that out. I don't practice that enough, and it's again another good point. I just what we do then is we get into the blitz and then we run the counters off the blitz.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. I was getting ready to
so
say or ask the
yeah,
question. Oh, you can just jump into your blitz because they're
yeah,
already
exactly. Yeah. Yep.
yeah, that makes
Um, and like all of our inbound plays are go from our out of bounds plays go right into the blitz as well. You'll see that in here. What you're seeing on your screen right now, it's just some other options when you run into certain things. Um, we've been running into this situation here where we don't catch the ball maybe cleanly enough. Instead of running up the middle, we actually go off to the sideline right here and come in. Instead of going up here, we go here. Because again, all of this, their zone is set up to be here.
uh,
And these guys are pushed back because they got to worry about 1 and 5 up on the top. So instead of throwing and going up the middle, because X5 might come down, X3, I mean, it really all depends. We just tell them, hey, just go up the sideline. It's going to be wide open.
mhm.
If she gives you a big gap here, if your teammate too gives you a big gap, then it's just a pitch behind. and then you're off to the races. You're gonna have one person to beat, right?
Oh,
Which is gonna, in this case, X1. So we definitely practice those scenarios.
okay. That,
Because what we're starting to see is 3 is getting guarded coming in a
mm,
lot now, which again doesn't matter to us because next person up, right?
right.
So
Well, do you show your girls these plays? Send these things to them?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, they have the playbook.
Yeah, that's what I need to start doing too.
Yeah, I created a playbook for them. Um, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, inbound plays. I mean, they all go right back into the blitz. They're all set up to do that. Or sideline. I only have one sideline out of bounds play. It again, if
Well, that reminds me. I was going to ask you, what happens? Let's
hmm
say the ball, your team's pressing you, ball goes out of bounds,
hmm
and the ball is still on your side of the court, I guess the front court or back court, I don't know. And then you have to take the ball out,
on the side.
up your press break.
Yeah. So what we do in that situation, even if they're pressing us, we set up in our sidelines out of bounds plays. Now imagine this. You're set up in a sidelines out of bounds play under their basket.
Right.
Okay. It confuses them and they guard inside instead of outside. So what happens is you just throw, in this case, the way our formation is. Here, let me pull this up. So remember, this is their basket right here. We're down at the other end. Okay, we're
Right.
down here.
Yep.
So this is even more complex than it needs to be. Uh, 5, let's just look at 5. See where 5 started right here. Okay. What's happening with the defense a lot of times, they're in here. They get confused. Like you're setting in a sidelines out of bounds play. We're here, right? They're defending these defenders. Well, we're going the other way. So what 5 does is 5 then just goes down. We got 3 to 5 going this way with nobody on her.
Hmm.
Okay, so okay, second time it happens, is it going to happen that cleanly? No, but we still set up in this and run out of it and find people to screen depending on where they are, right?
So 4 comes over toward the ball, and so 5 doesn't go down to 2.
Yeah, well, in the case of what I just showed you, that is correct.
Okay.
Here, maybe this is a better picture. So we're set up like this. So it's 5, 4, 1, 2.
And the
3's
basket
taking the
that
bus.
you're showing me is not your basket.
Not our basket. Now, when it is our basket, we still run the same thing, right? But right away, if we have a sidelines out of bounds play, we know that they're pressing us, we'll set up in this formation.
Okay.
Okay. And one is our point guard. She's a decoy. All right. She yells and screams for the ball going this way. And then 5 just goes towards our basket. In this case, down here, and 3 passes to 5.
Okay.
So works. Sometimes we can catch them off guard. Once we definitely catch them off guard once, twice might be a struggle, and then they just set up, and they could set up in their half court press. But if you think about this, even if they did a 1-2-2 against this, there's always, we just make the reads and we just go down. We may run a couple screens off of this, but it seems to work every time. And we
Oh,
practice for it for the
right.
simplicity. It's like I don't need 5 sidelines out of bounds plays,
Right.
right? For every scenario. It's like, okay, let's just work with what we have. And I always tell them, what are we trying to do? What's the first thing? Just get the ball in and we'll take it from there.
Mhm.
Right. And even on the press break, I learned this from another coach, and I just thought it was the best advice. So normally, I don't know why I drew it up this way, but normally what happens is, where is it here? Normally ball side gets the ball. So in this case, 2 comes down and gets the ball, right? Okay.
Right.
Well, that's normally my point guard in this position. Okay. And I tell her, what's your job? Get the ball. I, she goes, well, what happens when I'm guarded? I said, get unguarded. Get the ball. That's your job. Get the ball.
Right.
Right. So it's like sometimes you just, got to be like, your job is to get the ball. Because they'll come up with 1,000 scenarios and situations. Well, what if I don't? What if this happens? What your job is to get the ball in. Period. I don't care what you have to do, get the ball in. All right.
Yeah.
So do we just have that mentality? I was going to add something that was important on that too. Get the ball in. She'll bump those. She'll bump X2 if she has to, if X2 is overplaying her just to get the ball in. Oh, what if, okay, in the case where she doesn't get the ball in, then she just does circle motion. She comes up, doesn't get the ball in, boom, comes up the middle, 4 comes up, right?
Mhm.
So if she doesn't get the ball in,
Oh, okay, I got you.
got it. Yeah.
I like
So
that's
anyway,
good.
that's a press break. There's lots of we got the fast break in here too. You can see that. That's what I was talking about before. The first
Oh
one
yeah.
down fills, they all fill in. Um, I broke
Yep.
down like all the shooting drills that we do off of the offense. Those are all in there. Added
So
some
pretty
just
much,
like basic shooting drills and then off of our offense.
okay. So pretty much everything I need is in here, right?
It should be.
Okay.
Yeah. It should be, and then some because I'll be adding some more in there. But yeah,
Okay. So what I was thinking earlier, all the other stuff, I really don't really need that some type of secondary break. I just need to stick with this and keep it simple.
keep it simple, run some, yeah, start working on some of the counters that you see or the reads, right? That you might encounter. And as you play, right, you'll start noticing, okay, this is how they're playing against this. What do I need to do? The one big thing that we run into most of the time, and this is what I wanted to tell you, and then I do have to run, is let me pull this up. Let's go back to this here. Okay, this, nice and neat and perfect scenario situation where the ball handoff comes right here, right?
Mhm.
And it's set at the right spot, and we're doing a lot of times what happens is X1 forces 1 way out,
Okay.
right? And 4 comes all the way up here for this ball handoff, and then they can't get it, and then of course they're trying to do Messi keeper, they're trying to do whatever, right? Well, what I always tell the kids to do, if X4 is kind of forcing you up and the ball handoff is happening and X1 is forcing you out, when 4 comes up, they just back cut right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because then that clears everything out, and gets them out of the way, and then one can attack, or one can do a reverse dribble and attack, or spin dribble, I mean, in attack. Um, uh, or maybe 4 has an opportunity and is open, and one can throw to 4. Um, that type
That's
of
getting pushed out too wide.
Yeah, yeah. And usually where they're pushing is they're getting caught in this gutter and maybe off to the side. And it's going to take some discipline because we're supposed to get the ball handoff. Coach says we're supposed to get the ball handoff. I'm like, no, we're supposed to make a play, right? Make an opportunity to score. So I just have them back cut and get out. and then two will come up maybe and get the ball, or maybe that creates opportunity for one to work their magic up on the top, or that ball handler. So we're always working on ways to not be forced high on that ball handoff. And a little high is fine because it actually creates a little bit better gap for us. So not
Okay.
necessarily a bad thing. It's just when you're being forced really high or out, that's when it gets a little bit tricky. So
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Wow, this is good. This is good. Okay, well then I I think I've got a better understanding of this. And I kind of was familiar with that zoom action, but
yeah,
this navigating through this, you made it very clear for me.
I
Okay,
just
I
really try to keep it simple. And I always tell, the girls know from day one we're building a house and we're at the foundation level. And then we'll add in more and more and more, right? And I kind of go just slightly ahead of their pace. I'm not going from, building the foundation level to putting the roof on, because that'll just blow their mind up, right? So we try to push them, stay ahead of where they're at, and try to think ahead of what they're going to need before they need it, but not too far ahead. When I'm working with them, it just it you don't, especially on the reads, you don't want to put too many out there right away.
you start
Uh,
with the big picture, like obviously that the
yeah,
layer one is in essence the offense.
yeah, exactly. And then we start breaking it down, like within the Messi keeper and twist, and I would look at one of the quick hitters to add in. I don't remember which one I usually start with, but something simple, um, just to
I
show
like
them, just in case you're just in a drought, or you just need to, add a little bit more excitement. Definitely show them against a zone, because you're going to run into a zone right away. Um, but again, even against a zone, I start at the basics of just, hey, just run it. Again, you have the opportunity to put that defense to sleep and just do the ball handoffs up on the top, because you don't have a shot clock.
right.
And most coaches aren't patient enough, and it's kind of funny. We have this play called hot potato, and our girls absolutely love it because they score off of it every single time. And uh, it's three girls up on the top, and they're literally just passing back and forth to one another because they're sitting and they're sagging in their defense. So
Right.
I said, okay, just every three girls up front, and they're literally just passing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're like, we don't have a shot clock. We can do this all day. We want to sit and sag in the defense. They have yet to someone sit there. And what do you think the other coach is yelling right now?
Trap the ball.
Trap the ball. As soon as we hear trap the ball, furthest person away on that three, cuts to the middle, boom, wide open, shot, or wide open drive, kick to out, to the girls in the short corner, and just, yeah. So
Okay, I
all right,
like
I
that.
gotta run.
Okay. Man, this was awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. Hopefully that was helpful. And again, if you get stuck, don't hesitate to call. Happy to jump on the phone, or once you get going, you have film you want to share and say, hey, what about this scenario? Yeah, let's do it again.
Okay, and I like to look at that defense. I'll look over the defense some more, but you're recommending maybe I should get the funnel down defense.
Yeah, I like that, or something that has a very specific action to it on defense. This is what we're not just there. People are going to score, and to say to keep the team from scoring is, it's just not realistic, right?
Right.
But to say, okay, we have a victory if we can force them to the corners, or force them to a situation, or put them in a particular situation. That's a win. That's first win. Okay, great. Now, are they going to counter? Are they going to score? Are they going to get lucky? Absolutely. But hey, let's get some wins off of this, and if we can get them funneled down the right way, we know we're going to succeed in the end. I think defense in general is just too vague of just stop the ball. Okay, right.
Right.
Right. What does that mean?
I want to get more simple, even in that area, right? I mean, just
Exactly. I think simplicity is the key.
well.
And
So
that's
then,
why I don't like plays necessarily. That's why I have very few, but I have reads. This is what you need to look for, right? In this situation, do this. It's not a, I'm not calling out a lot of plays. They're just making the reads. And they'll even say to one another, hey, that's a messy keeper situation. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll look for that. Or that's a twist situation, or that's this, you know? It's about situations that they see. Oh, she's forcing you way out on the ball handoff. What are you supposed to do? And they're saying this to each other. Oh, cut. That's right. Okay, I got to cut. You know, back cut, I mean. So,
yeah. Oh, I like that. Okay.
oh.
Okay. Well, then, I will start messing with this for sure, and get into it. I guess my thought would be, so it sounds like, um, just where I need to start in the progression is, definitely layer one with the continuity, teach them that, teach them some reads. Are there, like are there some that you recommend that I master before I go to the next ones?
The
I know,
reads.
yeah, the reads.
Definitely Messi keeper is one of them. And then the back cut. Just work on back cutting when they force you really high. Those would be the two. Um,
All right. That's great. That's great. Messi keeper, then I'll definitely cover the zone.
roll too, or the dive, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
know, look at that one just so they get used to that and looking to the roller. Um, I think those, if you did those three to start, that will cover a lot of grounds. And then look at the zone stuff.
Okay.
You know, look
So
at opportunities where you see, yep.
okay. All right. I'll look at those even more. Okay. Awesome. And then so I guess do you sell that funnel down defense?
Yeah, it's on this. I can send you a link to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. All right. Well, this was good. Let me navigate through some of this, and I'll definitely give you a call or something.
Yeah,
Email.
please. Yeah, happy to help.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
Yeah, you bet. Good luck, coach. Have a
All
great
right. Thank
year.
you, Coach.
All right,
See
take
ya.
care.
All
All
right.
right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.